mystery.
Right.
Because I assure you, there is a whole plan and a backstory and everything working here, and I'm thinking that you guys are just having a problem, mostly from my end, because I'm having a hard time telling you the information that I want to tell you, and I'm seeing that's where the problem is, and I think I just need more time to figure out how to get you guys into the things, to know the things that I want you to know that will make things easier for you.
Okay.
I see where you're coming from.
Yeah, no, I see. It is a complex three-dimensional structure with navigational hazards, as in there are no-go areas that are inhabited by combat characters, and there are hostile elements such as fans and pressurized gas. So I have to say that the lack of a map has all of us juggling around an abstraction of what we think the base looks like.
Well, my problem is I don't know how to draw a three-dimensional map. I'm just bad at that.
Like, I've given it my best shot there on the Discord, as you see, and it's basically the cylinder.
Well, something has to give, because the fact that the structure is so complicated to explore with several blind alleys and navigation.
Well, I'm pretty sure that at least two of you know what the place is. And Griff made a guess 2 weeks ago, and he was spot on. So.
But we don't have much way to interact with it in that way, or.
No. I'm just saying that if you know what the place is, then that informs you greatly on why or why not to be going through it.
This is the debriefing, and I'm just stating that.
I understand you, Raph. I understand you just fine. But I'm saying that if you understand what the place is, then I shouldn't need to map it for you to understand that. But nobody is ever saying it out loud, except for in the debrief.
There are many times that I feel like I'm asking questions about stuff that I assumed was correct, or certain navigation puzzles. I mean, like last adventure we climbed up the shaft, and this adventure we climbed back down.
Right, I understand, and that's not satisfying. It's not satisfying to you, it's not satisfying to me.
The other thing, like I said, the other thing that's confusing me is the thing that's frustrating to me is that I have a character who has many of the skills that should be relevant to this environment. I have athletics, so I'm highly mobile. I have craft, so I can deal with materials, and I have academics. My background is high tech, and I'm actually an engineer. But the thing that's kind of frustrating me is, even though I have those abilities, like I said, I'm completely baffled as to the purpose of this structure. It's made in such a way that is strangely hostile. Like we have the weird cyborgs who are navigating due to some internal process that makes them move around, because the radio signal has to come from here. If they were invaders, I don't think they would have. But there's no, like I said, there's never any service panels, no human accessible places, even the receiving vestibule. Like, I gotta understand if we were received, but the gate was broken, sealed off, or locked. That I could understand. What I don't understand is I got received, and there doesn't really seem to be any place we're supposed to go. It just strikes me as like a nonsensical structure. And the fact that I don't understand it abstractly, and I don't have a map that's concrete.
Well,
really
unfortunately for me, the map that I'm working on with here isn't a map so much as is a diagram of the thing this place is. And I can't just draw that in Roll20 myself.
Right. Well, for me to feel more positively engaged with the adventure, one of those two things has, I would think one of those two things has to change.
No, like I said, I understand what your problem is. You don't have to make demands in that regard. I understand. My problem is that I think I front-loaded all this on Griffin, and Griffin isn't following. So the problem here is that I have the narrator that I've described is having a problem, and then the problem there then falls that if he's having a problem, that means that I'm doing a bad job. So I'm not when I say that, Griffin, I'm not blaming you. I'm saying that if you're having a problem figuring out what I've put entirely on your plate, then I've put the wrong items on your plate.
And I feel like I'm trying to be proactive and asking probative questions and trying to deal with problems based on tools. And I can understand that we can't expect everything we do to work, but
Hey, I was 100% down for you guys trying to blow this place up. That would have been great.
well,
But it
I-
wouldn't have felt productive. Like,
Yeah,
we knew what we
I
were doing.
instantly knew what I was going to do to keep the adventure going if you blew this place up.
well,
I was like, oh god, I hope they do it.
it's not that I didn't consider. You see, that's another. Also, this is something I've mentioned before. Is confused. Am I supposed to care if I live or die?
No. I would hope that you did care if you lived or died. Like I said, I would have a way to keep things going where you would still be playing your characters and you would still be invested in the story, maybe even more so. I'm not going to make you die for no reason, for shits and giggles.
But also the problem is that we are ostensibly here to greet some intelligence. So
You're here to deliver a thing, and when you got here, another player character said, or got a message in their head, hey, take that thing from them. Then they took the thing from you, and then you all got completely confused.
Okay, but well, if I was supposed to deliver it to him, that's why I said, well, I guess we can just leave now if you're the person I'm supposed to give this to.
Right. You gave it to him, and he had a communication in his head that told him to go somewhere immediately after he received the thing. And like I said, at that point, you all got completely confused. And I don't know if that's also at the point where we had like 4 months of not playing. I can't remember.
Let me finish my point here, which was he is hearing a voice in his head telling him to go somewhere on this planet.
Right.
So blowing up this planet might harm where he's supposed to go.
I think, again, that's another misconception that you have. You're on Nepha, which is one of the largest planets in the entire system. This isn't some small planetoid like Pluto or something. This is a massive planet.
Okay, but the location he's being told to go is on this planet, right?
Right. Bombing the post office is going to help me deliver the mail here.
Right. Exactly. So that's why I was thinking, like, well, I could create some sort of industrial accident trying to make some forward progress, but I would be there. There is an implication that there might be something here that I care about if it lives or dies. So I would not want to do that. So
No, I understand. I'm just saying that I would have had some small personal enjoyment from you guys doing something crazy that I thought would also... I'm not saying, hey, go do this next time. I'm just saying that you guys said that, and I smiled on camera because I thought it was funny.
I would feel better. I just want to say the part of frustration I feel is I feel like I'm doing a lot of things that are appropriate for the setting, and are on task, but they make no progress.
Right, and I agree with you there that is a frustrating thing to feel, and as I've said, that's on me. I've front-loaded you guys with information or mystery that has not panned out well due to confusion stemming from my inability to give you concrete answers.
To be more proactive about it, I would suggest that you might modify your storyline to allow us to make progress using things that aren't in it. I mean, maybe there's some explanation of why this entire industrial section has weirdo zombies running around but doesn't have any navigation aids for people to wander around.
Well,
But
that's one of the minor mysteries. Honestly, I would have been fine if you guys just came here, figured out what this place was, and left. That would solve one small bit of the major plot line.
Right,
but then you guys crawled through it, and we're here for 2 sessions.
Right. So, but this is the debriefing. So I'm just stating that these are design decisions that you have made as the game master. You decided these things.
I decided this place existed, right? And I've put some important things here, which have already been found, which have already been interacted with, and then you guys got hung up here for a bit, which I know is my fault because of design decisions that I've made. But like I said, I front-loaded a lot of things on one person, and that did not pan out well. I've done that before in the past, and it didn't pan out well either. I've just clearly not learned my own lessons.
Okay, yeah. I'm not here to, I'm just suggesting that if you want us to feel more engaged with the adventure, it would be nice if there were things, if our own actions to deviate from your original script would have more proactive developments. Like I said, we've got lots of academics, we've got lots of craft, and lots of athletics. We're engaging the session, we're making 2 or 3 success rolls, but they're not.
I think my problem there is that every time I plan or try to anticipate for you guys going off script, you go to the edge of that and then pull back, and then we feel less like we've done something because, like...
Right, like, we could have hopped through the thing into the hydrogen peroxide area that we didn't have any vision, didn't really know anything about.
And it's apparently
another tube that would have required more climbing, that was highly pressurized, hard to get into.
Griff, I know you know what this place is, just say it.
He doesn't know.
He said to us last session, he said what it was. At the debrief. He only says it in the debrief.
Obviously doesn't remember, or he may have said something, but it didn't register to him the same meaning as you.
Knowing that mystery doesn't help us solve our
It doesn't help you, but if you don't share it.
Oh, okay. Like, Jewel, if you know what this place is, I do not, and have stated.
No, I don't know in character. Like, out of character, I figure the mystery is that it is either an engine or a terraforming device. Terraforming device makes some sort of sense to some degree because it doesn't have to be like this weird explodey thing that explodes into a hangar or something.
I mean, I figured it might be some kind of engine because this is rocket fuel and might, conceivably...
But even if that guess is correct, it doesn't give us more ability to interact with it because we don't have, like, an access to it. Because, like, I would think, like, alright, if we find, like, the main computer, then it's like, alright, cool, we'll just turn it back on.
The point isn't that you then access it. The point is that you then know what it is, and that builds something for later.
But I'm going
to... It builds tension right now, but until we get to make a decision, we don't have agency with
and
it.
I'm going to repeat that I don't board the airplane by going inside the jet engine. So I'm confused why the navigational authority...
There is no navigational authority. You hailed... Sorry. Your ship came here.
Yes.
This is a place people don't go. Griffin's parents... Sorry, Griffin's parents. I mean, Jules' parents... Specifically, it doesn't relate to your character. I'm just saying, this has been said out loud before. Jules' parents, as a matter of setting building, warned him never to come here. This is a bad place. Don't ever come here. You were sent here on a mission to deliver an item. Your shuttle sent a message here, and were given authority to land. I know that uses the word authority, but even in like a pirate bay, somebody tells you go ahead and land. You just came here and landed in here. This is a backwards place. Most of the system doesn't regard this as a place.
Okay, okay, I'm gonna say this.
I understand where you're coming from, Raph, but if I lay out like world building stuff when I'm dealing with somebody else and you don't hear that because you weren't paying attention to when they were playing, that's me helping everybody.
Look, this is the debriefing, and I'm just gonna
be as hostile as you want to be, Raph.
I asked for permission to land, and then I landed, and I'm sorry I didn't specify. I thought when they gave me permission to land, they told me to land here.
This is the only place to land. Yeah, you got guided all the way down this one tube. That's the only place to be.
Right, and so the only place to land, like I spoke to some sort of thing that said you should land here.
Well, your pilot did. You didn't. You weren't piloting a shuttle. You had a ride here.
Entire planet of all the places to land when you ask for automated permission to land, it had me land apparently in the exhaust port of an engine with a place that had no facilities whatsoever for receiving.
This is where the synths that are not freedom fighters. This is where all the synths in the disenfranchised. This is where all the disenfranchised synths live. If they decided to live here, that's their problem, not yours.
Okay. Well, then when I went there, there was no one to receive me to take the pack. That's what I.
There was though, and he took the package.
Oh, you mean this guy? Well, that's why I said we can leave
Right,
now.
so
but he
here's
wants
the
to make
second
some
part
sort
of it.
voice.
I have a direction, and it told us to go up a jet engine.
So basically, I'm following. So a voice in your head told you to go to a place, but there's no way accessible.
Now,
You know,
again,
that's fine.
Mvala wanted to break into a wall. Mvala broke into a wall. I never said that the direction you wanted to go was that way. I said the direction was was above you and some distance away.
No,
You ended the session, and I will go back to a fucking recording if you want me to, Raph.
I'm not. Look, I'm not disputing any of that.
So, sorry, go ahead.
Look, this is the debriefing. That's why I said if this is Jewel's mission, and we're supposed to get whatever Jewel wants, I am like I'm just kind of I am feeling disengaged from the narrative. I feel like there is a lot of hostile creatures that are incredibly resistant to whatever weapons I have, and since I don't want to die, I don't want to engage them. I have attempted to discover more stuff about the station by using the skills I have, academics, craft, and athletics, to try and navigate around it. But what I'm finding is we came in to an exhaust port and a giant engine that everybody lives in that still has all this gas. I learned something today. Go me. But now I'm really at the point where I don't know what's going on. I don't know where I am, and this isn't my adventure.
It is. You're here because you were sent on a greater part, or a small part of a greater thing that you're a part of. You're only here for so long because at the end of one session, 2 sessions ago, you said, I'm just going to fucking break through this wall. So I came up with this entire thing because you, at the end of one session, said, I'm going to fucking break through this wall and figure out what the hell's going on here. Otherwise, you guys would have left a session 2 sessions ago. I'm sorry, Raph, that this sucks so much, but this is all because I tried to come up with something based on what you said you wanted to do 2 sessions ago.
See...
And I know that makes it for me to be a bad game master to blame anybody but myself, but I am taking the blame on this.
I'm not blaming the game master. In other words, I'm not saying it was bad for me to try something and have it not work. I'm not saying that.
No, I'm saying that the thing you said you wanted to do, the thing that's kept you guys here this whole time, was me trying to come up with something. I mean, I knew what this place was already, but then I tried to build it up based on you breaking into it.
I think...
Which did not pan out, obviously.
You are... There is a dual problem of where there is a combat encounter that is of a danger level so high.
It's not high. You stand on the ceiling, they can't touch you. You have ranged weapons. You could literally just blow them away over the course of I don't know how long.
Okay.
You stood on the ceiling before and just stared down at them, and they stared up at you for, I don't know, half an hour as you walked along.
This is the debriefing. And
you did it 4 times, by the way.
I am telling. I can only express that I feel a level of mystery and confusion that is more frustrating than entertaining.
No, I understand that. That's what I started this with.
Right. So
it's frustrating to me that it's frustrating to you.
I think that in the path forward, I think this has to be less mysterious. There have to be like this has happened before. there has to be more information. Either you have to like reward us for having information skills and tell us more educated guesses. Like we could have saved a lot of trouble.
You haven't asked any questions. I've answered every single question that you
Here's
asked.
like the really basic one. It's like I have a direction, but it's clear. But as we've discovered, it's a kilometer away.
Yeah, and I've asked questions.
It never would have been a rational decision to go up that thing if it was that far away.
I mean,
You had 1 point, right? You had 1 point, and it was a direction. You did not know it was a kilometer away. You've only just now done the math based on multiple points of interest.
Okay.
I know that's a shitty defense, but at the same time, I would have figured out a way to get you there had you kept going through that thing.
Right. I mean, like one thing I'm trying to express here is when we started climbing this column, there was some mystery to it. But when we went down the side passage with the melted, you had us do several rolls and several protrusions and eventually sort of figure out that this is a large area. And then we had to send somebody to explore in it. We spent like an hour or more just figuring out what kind of dead end this was and what kind of engine it was. And if that was supposed to take an hour or so,
I let you talk because you guys do interesting things when you talk, and it's interesting to hear you converse with each other about what you want to do and what you might do. I didn't force you guys to spend an hour. I let you guys spend an hour because it's more entertaining than me.
Well, what I'm expressing during this debriefing is I am not finding this is going past what I consider personally consider entertaining. Like I'm happy to ask these probative questions and stuff, but I always feel like I'm feeling that at the end of these questions, I've discovered things and evidence, but it doesn't help me with the grander picture. It's not helping me make progress in the story, and it's frustrating me as a player because I feel like I'm these are just adding more mysteries to things. I can't ask probative questions that get me further on the critical path.
Like what?
So I feel like I feel
Can
like
you give an example of that? That would help
climbing
me.
up this entire
No, you
path.
said you can't ask probative questions to help you answer mysteries. Give me an example of that so I can be aided in that respect. Because every time you try to ask a probative question, like, you rolled once and I told you it was a heat pump, right? That was me trying to help you out.
I'm
sorry, go ahead.
Well, I'm mentally recalling in my head. I have a feeling that I will say something that I think is a conjecture. Say something that is conjecture on my part. Like, this looks like a tube and it's got a fan in it, so gas had to come down here or something. So it must be some sort of ventilation and it's got themes on it. You could have said, you as the game master could have said at any point, this looks like an engine exhaust. So this goes up into an engine. And you could have even, I know this might sound too bold for you, but you could have said, you think this is an engine that isn't going to lead you to any places that might actually get you out of here. That this is just going to be an engine that leads into a larger fuel compartment and you should go some other path. You could have said that at any point.
That's fair.
Now, I know you don't want to say that because you want to have some sort of mystery and exploration. But then when we get to the top and like you say, this is burned out and I say, oh, well, let's go ahead and get through that. There's another area behind it that still has fuel in it. It didn't have to have fuel in it. It could have been, there was a burned out accident here that left this tube open. And it could have been that was a larger fuel compartment. And then maybe we could have cut our way out and gotten somewhere. You didn't have to do that as a game master.
Well, I had an encounter in there. That's why I did that. There was things in there.
But the problem is that as a game master, there are constantly things happening that I would think an intelligent person, or at least my characters in these games, would look at them and say, this is too dangerous. Like when I poke a hole in it and gas comes out and it's at thousands of PSI, I'm thinking, okay, this is a dangerous area filled with huge quantities of gas. Let's not go in there. You as the game master, have set up a world where there would be no rational reason for me to go in there. So if there was an encounter waiting there, which because you just said there was an encounter waiting there, I assume you said like this makes us turn. There are
I'm not suggesting that I needed you to go to that encounter. I'm just saying I was prepared for you to do anything. I had an encounter there. Should you have gone in there?
The situations are set up at such a level of mystery and peril that maybe this is just me because I've seen other people. The situation are set at such a level of mystery and peril that I would think a clever and resourceful and survivalist player character would find another way around them before doing them. And there is a lot of strange. I mean, I just want to call that the Tomb of Horrors problem.
No, you said we should leave like 20 times.
Yeah, and
I was fine with you leaving. You were leaving at the end of last session. We had to retcon it because you decided I don't want to leave.
Well, these guys wanted to be here for some reason, and I wanted to see it. Like I said, look, I'm just trying to express. I often feel like I'm asking. I think there needs to be.
Yes, I am bad at giving out information, and I'm really only good at answering questions, which is why I'm always waiting for questions.
And the level of peril, I think, is often extremely high, to the point where if I take it seriously, my actions would be to do nothing. Like this is the debriefing. Those cyber zombie guys are hella powerful. You can say you don't think they are, but this is the debriefing, and I'm saying they are. That's my opinion. They have 6 dice of soak and are resistant to all of our finishing and slaying weapons. And not to mention, we have limited ammo of other resources.
I didn't say they weren't dangerous. I just said that you guys have the ability to hang off the ceiling out of their reach. Their peril is
It would be unreasonable to wail on a boulder.
Also,
I'm just saying you don't have to fight them, and you've circumvented them every time.
There's a couple places where you can't say you don't have to fight them, and then flip this around and say, by the way, the passage narrows at this doorway to the point where you'd have to go through them.
Last time you did that, you put them all to one side of a large hill, and then went down the other side, and never encountered them. You've gone past them before. This time you decided to have them follow you.
And in this adventure, we gave the toast to... Right.
The toast has nothing to do with it. I will throw that out there.
The mystery, but in character, it is not so.
Yeah, Griffin knows why they're not attacking him. That's all. Toast has nothing to do with it.
I need to get going because I need to take care of some things. If I'm going to keep hearing there's something you don't know that makes all of this make sense, that's fine. My complaint is there's stuff I don't know and stuff doesn't make sense to me. So if in the spirit of continuing with the adventure and that kind of thing, I keep going. But I'll also, like, if I'm just going to keep hearing the phrase "you don't know what's going on," and it might all make sense later, that's my frustration. I can't engage. I feel like I'm trying to engage the adventure and make sense of it, but I'm continually being told I don't know things. And if other players know things that I don't,
I will go ahead and say this mystery is just character based, and it does not help solve anything here, really.
Right. Well, by definition, I'm not going to feel engaged if it's going to be that I don't know what's going on, and I don't know how to deal with it. Like I'm willing to be a team player and go along with some other people. I often feel like the biggest frustration I feel is like I often say like, okay, we go. I say the phrase "we go," and then 15 or 20 minutes go by in the game, and we actually haven't moved from our position. Like I'm constantly confused why I keep saying I move somewhere else, and then I find out that we haven't moved anywhere.
Because you haven't said that. Every time, I don't know, every time...
Really frequently, but
no,
there's like a lot of space.
Raph will say, okay, we're going to go do this, and then Griff will say, no, I think we need to check this direction first, and then you guys do that for 20, 40 minutes. I understand what you're saying, but you as a group don't go. Nobody moves until everybody decides to move. Apparently, it's not me. That's all you saying that.
I think on the sliding ice, it's supposed to be this mysterious. It's too perilous. That's what I'm going to say. There's too much of a chance. If you want me to be bolder and explore faster and more so,
I honestly do not care about you being bolder or anything. Do you ever remember when you were on the moon and I just let you do whatever on the moon? You're like, I apologize, I'm not doing anything. I'm like, I don't care. Do what you want to do. I'm here to give you a narrative for what you want to do. If you feel like your character doesn't want to do it, your character doesn't do it.
I'm suggesting, what I'm saying in the debriefing is, I would like to be bolder, but you have successfully scared me into not doing it. That's why I like come out the Tomb of Horrors problem. Like if you create an adventure where there are perils that could maim or kill you, and there's a lot of them, like they're every 30 feet, you have successfully put the fear into me, and I don't feel empowered to move forward. I don't feel like a hero. I feel like a character in a roguelike. I mean, look, this is the I'm just.
You don't have to keep saying it's the debriefing.
I know. Well, I'm not here to place any blame on anyone. I'm saying, like, if this is where I feel frustrated, that I don't know what's going on, and I could die at any time, and that's not the definition of a fun adventure to me. So, but I do need to go ahead and take care of some things. So, I will talk to you guys later. So, thanks.
Okay. All right, and I guess that wraps it up then.
Yep.
All right, so we will catch you a little later then.